All right, welcome to your deep dive. You sent in The Journey of Wisdom, which
Mm.
is a story based on Proverbs, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're really looking for some knowledge, some deeper meaning in life.
Yeah.
So we're going to use this story kind of like a lens
Mm.
to explore some practical wisdom. What's cool is we're not going to get all bogged down with, chapter and verse.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
more like, I don't know, a cheat sheet to understanding the core ideas of Proverbs.
I like that. Yeah, I think it's such a great way to look at it because it kind of takes these ancient proverbs
Yeah.
and puts them into a story that we can relate to a little bit easier. And, you can really see how these proverbs might actually play out in our lives.
Exactly. And so the story introduces us to Ethan, and Ethan is yearning for something more in life.
Mm-hmm.
He's not content with just the ordinary, I think a lot of us can relate to that, like that desire for deeper understanding, for something beyond just, the everyday routine.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a very human longing. And that's where this traveler comes in, right?
Yeah.
And this traveler who challenges Ethan to journey to the city of understanding, which I think is such a
I love that.
powerful metaphor for any kind of learning path.
The journey to knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, so the traveler gives Ethan some advice before he sets off on this journey. And he quotes Proverbs 1.7, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge."
Mm-hmm.
I can admit, that sounds kind of intense. What does that even mean, like, practically speaking?
Well, that's a great question. And it's definitely one that a lot of people have, right?
Yeah.
It's not about being afraid in a literal sense, right?
Right.
It's more about recognizing that there's something bigger than ourselves, a higher power maybe,
Right.
or just a set of principles that govern the universe. And it's about approaching knowledge with humility and respect, acknowledging that we don't have all the answers. Kind of like, you're laying a foundation, recognizing there's so much to learn before you even begin.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So Ethan sets off on this journey, armed with this advice. But of course, it's not easy. And he encounters all these tempting voices in the forest,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to lure him off the path. And these voices, I think, represent those distractions, those temptations that we all face.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like that procrastination, that allure of shortcuts, the desire for instant gratification. I mean, those are the voices that try to steer us away from our goals.
Right.
And they always promise easy rewards, but ultimately, they usually lead us astray. Think about it. What are some of those voices that you encounter in your own life that try to tempt you away from maybe what you know is important?
Oh, social media is a big one for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy to get sucked into scrolling.
Tell me about it.
And suddenly, like, an hour's gone by.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it's that voice that's like, just one more episode, when I know I really should be sleeping.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why discernment is so crucial, right?
Yeah.
Ethan has to learn to distinguish between the voices that lead to wisdom and those that lead to, folly.
Yeah.
And it's about recognizing those patterns in our own lives.
Oh, so true. But thankfully, Ethan is not alone in this journey.
Right.
He encounters Lady Wisdom,
Yes.
who offers him guidance and protection.
Yeah.
And there's this beautiful passage in Proverbs 2.4-5 that compares seeking wisdom to searching for hidden treasures. What do you think about that analogy?
Oh, it's such a powerful image, isn't it? I think it really highlights the effort that's involved in acquiring knowledge,
Right.
It's not always easy and it's not always instant. Sometimes it requires really digging deep, putting in the work, being patient. Just like a treasure hunt, it's a process. But those rewards, they're invaluable.
I love that. It's like those aha moments when you finally grasp the concept that you've been working on.
Yeah.
It's like that feeling of accomplishment is worth all that effort.
Absolutely.
So the story goes on to show us just how valuable that effort can be. And as Ethan continues on his journey, he encounters even more challenges and temptations. And one of the most striking is his encounter with the Scarlet Woman.
Right.
Talk about temptation.
Yeah, this encounter is really interesting because it represents something, it's not just about literal seduction.
Yeah.
It's about those alluring paths, the ones that promise easy rewards.
Right.
But ultimately, they lead to harm. Think about, what are some things in your life that seem really appealing on the surface, but could actually lead you down kind of a dangerous path.
Oh, that makes me think about those, like, get-rich-quick schemes.
Yeah.
Or like those fad diets that promise amazing results with like little to no effort.
Yeah.
And they sound tempting, but they often lead to more problems down the line. It's like a reminder to really look beyond the surface and think about the potential consequences before just jumping into something.
Exactly. And Proverbs 5.34 actually warns us about, the dangers of being swayed by empty promises and smooth talk. It's really about cultivating that critical thinking, questioning the things that sound too good to be true, and considering the long-term impact of our choices.
Yeah. It's like that saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's some solid advice, no matter what you're pursuing in life.
Absolutely. Discernment and critical thinking, they're key, on that path to wisdom.
Yeah.
And as we'll see, Ethan's journey, it doesn't stop there. He's going to face a pivotal moment of decision that's really going to determine the course of his life.
Ooh, so what happens next? This is getting good.
Yeah.
We'll pick up on this journey to wisdom in part 2, so stay with us. Welcome back to the deep dive on the journey of wisdom. So last time we left off with Ethan, and he's starting to understand the importance of discernment, of really, thinking critically about the choices that are in front of him. He really dodged a bullet with that Scarlet Woman, huh?
He did.
But his journey doesn't stop there.
No, not at all.
It takes him to, well, actually a crossroads. Really.
Literally, yeah.
He finds himself at the gates of a city.
Right.
And standing there are two figures, Lady Wisdom and Folly.
Ooh.
This is a crucial moment,
Yeah.
right? Like a choice between two paths.
Yeah.
It's almost like that classic battle of, good versus evil.
It's tempting to look at it that way, but I think it's a bit more nuanced than that.
Okay.
Folly isn't necessarily evil,
Right.
She represents that part of ourselves that's impulsive, the part that wants instant gratification, even if it means there's going to be trouble down the road.
Yeah.
She's that voice that whispers, skip the workout, you deserve a treat.
Uh-huh.
Or buy that expensive thing, you'll figure out the money later.
Man, Folly sounds very familiar.
Oh,
I think we all have that voice in our heads sometimes.
oh yeah.
But Lady Wisdom, she must represent, making the harder choices, but the smarter choices.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Proverbs 9.44 actually captures Folly's tactics really well,
Okay.
It says, stolen waters are sweet and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. So there's this allure to it, right? This excitement about doing what you're not supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. You can almost hear the warning in that, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
It might feel good now, but there's a price to pay later.
For sure. And that's, Lady Wisdom's message. Yeah. It's all about thinking long term, thinking about consequences. She offers Ethan, bread and wine, which represents true nourishment, the kind that sustains you, the kind that satisfies.
That's such a contrast, right?
Yeah.
Folly is offering that fleeting pleasure,
Yeah,
but Lady Wisdom is offering something deeper, more lasting.
definitely. And this scene, I think, is so powerful
Yeah.
because it's a decision we all face constantly, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Do we go for the quick fix, the easy way out, or do we choose that path that requires more effort but ultimately, leads to greater fulfillment?
So how does Ethan choose?
Well,
I'm on the edge of my seat.
he chooses wisely.
Okay, good.
He follows Lady Wisdom into the city, and what does he find? He finds a banquet of understanding. This is where all that effort, all those times he chose wisdom over folly, they pay off.
I bet it was worth it. To reach that level of understanding, it must feel incredible.
Yeah.
And it's not just about, knowing things. It's about understanding their meaning, a deeper meaning, and how they connect to your life.
And it even goes beyond just personal fulfillment. Proverbs 10.22 talks about the blessing of the Lord making you rich.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not talking about money. It's about that richness of a life well lived, filled with purpose and, strong relationships and just a deeper understanding of yourself and the world.
It's beautiful. So true wealth isn't material. It's about having a life that's aligned with your values and that brings you true satisfaction.
Exactly.
Ethan's story doesn't end there, though, does it?
No.
There's got to be another twist.
It takes another turn, another interesting one.
Okay.
Because Ethan doesn't just keep all this newfound understanding to himself,
Right.
He actually becomes a mentor. He helps others find their own path to wisdom.
Wow. So he's sharing what he's learned, paying it forward.
Yeah.
It's almost like his journey becomes even more meaningful when he starts helping others.
Absolutely, because true wisdom, it's not meant to be hoarded, right? It's meant to be shared. And that actually brings us to the final stage of Ethan's journey and what it means for you.
Okay, so this is where it gets personal.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see how this ties together. It's been quite a journey with Ethan, hasn't it?
It really has.
I mean, he started out, he was yearning for something more, and then he faced all these temptations, made those tough choices,
Right.
and ultimately found that fulfillment. Not just in acquiring knowledge,
Yeah.
but in actually sharing it with others.
And I think it's been so interesting to see how his story, it kind of mirrors like the journey we all take, right, in our pursuit of wisdom. It's not a straight line.
Right.
It's full of twists and turns and challenges and rewards.
For sure.
And like Ethan, we really find that true fulfillment comes not just from what we know,
Yeah.
but from how we use that knowledge to actually make a difference in the world.
And that brings us back to that beautiful quote from Proverbs 3.13. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. It's just this reminder that wisdom isn't something that just, like, happens to us, you know?
Right.
It's something that we actively have to seek out and cultivate and really integrate into our lives.
And I think that's the exciting part about it. It's ongoing, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't end when you reach a certain level of understanding. There's always more to learn, more to explore, more to share.
Ethan's story just shows that the journey itself is as valuable as the destination.
Absolutely.
Like, it's in those challenges, those moments of decision, that we really grow and discover what really matters.
So thinking back on Ethan's story,
Right.
what moments really resonated with you?
Yeah.
What challenges did you relate to? And
Right.
I think most importantly, what treasures are you seeking on your own journey?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
Like, what are those things that bring us that true fulfillment? That blessing of the Lord that goes beyond just material wealth. Maybe it's deeper relationships, maybe it's a sense of purpose,
Yeah.
or just the joy of, like, lifelong learning.
And remember, you know, you are not alone in this pursuit.
Yeah.
We all have that capacity for wisdom.
–
It's within each of us. It's just waiting to be discovered and nurtured.
Yeah.
And Ethan's story is just one example, one guidepost on the path. You know, your journey is going to be unique.
Right.
It's going to be filled with your own set of challenges and triumphs.
Well, this deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. I'm curious to hear what stood out for you, too. So share your thoughts and your insights and your questions in the comments or on social media.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
We love hearing from you. And until next time,
Yes.
keep seeking, keep questioning, keep diving deep into that world of knowledge and wisdom.